This world is full of things that are trying to pull you away from God, man. Believe me, I'm seeing it in my own life. Because it sure is a pretty spot right here. Let's see. Oh, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Man, I'm out here in the woods, and it's just such a pretty day. God's good, man. God's good. Look at that sky. Look at that sky. Look at them leaves. Ain't that cool? It's beautiful. Beautiful. Look, man. I got something for you to chew on. This is pretty cool. It's just something interesting, you know. This is maybe, I don't know, man. A lot of this stuff that I'm discovering and thinking about are things that if I was younger and people had expressed to me more about the Bible and the stories in there and how much you can learn, man. I'm learning a lot. Learning a lot. So anyway, I got one for you. And man, if the breeze don't blow it away. Okay, let me see. Okay, so I've been reading through First Samuel, and I knew that the whole story of David was coming up, and an old thing that I had thought about many times in the story of David when he goes up against Goliath. You know, it says in the story that little old David, he's there and he sees Goliath out there talking smack against Israel, and he's like, "Why ain't nobody doing nothing?" And David, little teenage shepherd boy, which by the way, being a shepherd, people think it was this foo-foo kind of job, but you had to be pretty tough to be a shepherd. You had to be able to protect your flock and protect yourself. You had to be rugged, able to deal with weather and circumstances, you know. So he was a tough young man. He was probably 15, 16 from what I gather. But anyway, he said, "Man, I'll go down there and fight Goliath." Oh, look at that. I'm in the shade. He said, "I'll go down there and fight Goliath." And the king tried to put a bunch of armor on it and everything. No, nothing fit. Armor and gave him a sword and a bunch of stuff. Nothing really worked. And he told the king, said, "This ain't me." So he put on his regular shepherd gear that he was wearing, you know, his whatever it is. But it says he had a staff and a sling and all that kind of stuff. Well, here's where it gets interesting. So chew on this. He went down and gathered 5 stones, but there was only one giant. And over the years, I kind of thought about that and said, well, was that just being able to relate to the, you know, pretty much any human that was going up against a giant would be, you could understand them being unsure enough that, like, yeah, there's one dude, but I'm going to grab a handful of rocks. I always thought it was just, you know, scripture showing the human side of David so that we didn't think he was this perfect guy. But then as I got, you know, I started learning more about scripture and about the different stories and the way things are connected. And, you know, I try to understand stuff, you know. I realized that in scripture it talks about Goliath had 3 brothers and a dad. So there were 5 giants. David picked up 5 stones. So maybe we had the whole thing wrong about him, or I say we, me. But I know there's other folks out there too may have wondered the same thing. Why did he pick up so many rocks if he was so confident and was, you know, talking about how he was going to go whoop butt, you know? And now, you know, after putting some things together and time going by and looking back into different things, I think that maybe David was so confident that he got 5 stones. Because look, man, if there's one giant and he's got brothers and a dad that live over in a couple towns over, you can't tell me everybody didn't know that there was a whole family of them. Okay. uh so David probably, when God told him, you go handle it, David probably said, okay, well, there's 5 giants, I'll get 5 stones. And I can only imagine, I know scripture doesn't tell us, but I can only imagine some dude goes, are you really going to go out and face that giant? And David says, there's 5 of them, ain't there? And that guy goes, yeah. And he says, all right. Walks out there and picks up 5 rocks. You know, that reminds me of them old Clint Eastwood westerns, man. There's one famous scene, I forget which one it's out of, but he walks down the road and he sees the dude over there making the coffins. And Clint's fixing to go confront these guys. He knows he's fixing to wreck them. So he looks over there at the guy making coffins and says, get 4 coffins ready. Or something like that. I'm not sure of the number. I think it's 4. Anyway, he goes and wrecks the dudes, but it was more than 4. So when he comes back by, he stops and tells the guy, I'm sorry, it was 5 or whatever, you know. So it's this famous scene. You know, it kind of has a little bit of bravado in it, you know, like I'm the dude, you know. And there's another one. There's another one, Charles Bronson. I think it's the man with the harmonica or something like that, where he gets off the train and these dudes are waiting on him, and he said, did you bring me a horse? And those guys said, no. And he ends up shooting them all, and after he tells them that they brought too many horses. So it's the same kind of, you know, maybe David was like that, man. Maybe David was like, who knows? Maybe he told Goliath, said, man, I'm here to wreck you and your family. So who knows? Chew on that though a little bit. Ain't that cool? You know, forever I thought that, I say forever, for a long time, I thought that David was not as confident as scripture made him out to be because he picked up all them stones. And now that I look at it, he might have been super confident. So let me tell you something, guys. Hang on, these shades are bothering me, man. Let me tell you something. To all you guys out there, we need to figure out how to find that kind of confidence. We need it. This world is full of things that are trying to pull you away from God, man. Believe me, I'm seeing it in my own life. We got to have our act together. And we got to have that kind of confidence like David had, man. That was more confidence than I ever realized he had. I always thought he questioned himself. And now I'm realizing that maybe maybe he trusted in God the way we should. Man, it sure is nice out here. You hear them birds, man. Look, y'all chew on that. It's pretty cool. Take it easy. See you next time. You guys hang in there, man. Hang in there.